awesome moment. Peace.
What's happening? What's happening, Captain? Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. I can hear you well.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Are we doing this through Instagram or are we doing it through YouTube?
We on both of them. We on Instagram right now with you, and we got our YouTube going.
All right.
Yeah.
So should I be staying with this or should I be calling in or tapping in via YouTube?
You can do both. Yeah, yeah,
Either or.
yeah. If they work for you.
I'm in transit right now. So,
Okay.
I could probably either do one or the other. So
That's-
which one would you prefer?
Let's stay right
Instagram's
here.
good.
Yeah, let's stay right here on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, my apologies. My phone died, so I just had to get a little charge.
Oh man, don't
We
man.
understand.
We good, man.
Yeah,
we ain't
we
making.
understand.
How's the family doing?
Everybody good. Everybody good. Yeah. And everything going well your way.
Yeah,
Everything going well your way.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
what it is.
It's a wonderful day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the homies out there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. I see the twin pillar came in too, and everybody else that's coming on in on the IG.
Yes,
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. You know, there's an outpouring. There's an opportunity for me, unlike other years, to see so many of my peers, homies, their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And I get to know so much more about a person when you get to know their mother.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That mitochondrial signature that they derive from. It's a beautiful thing, and I really appreciate the outpouring that I am seeing.
Yeah.
Of people's edifying their mothers and putting them on that social pedestal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
feels different.
Yeah.
It does.
It's beautiful.
I think we really don't need to introduce him. I mean, we had a whole little spiel we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Let's do it though.
Let's get it in. So did you write it? You got it. But while he's getting that together, I just want to say thank you so much. We appreciate you and everything that you do. Your family, you all were a major battery on this planet for the awakening of our people, of melanated people.
Indeed.
And that's a big deal. So we just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. With me being an oracle, that's not something that you can just call yourself because it's cute. It comes with a high responsibility.
Yeah, that's so true.
I foresaw this 2 years ago. And, it's amazing because 2 years ago, we were just coming out of church and, really coming through that brainwashing.
Yeah.
And, so credit is to you, absolutely, for the investment that you have made in the community to help us.
Okay, let's talk about that. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was it foundational about that experience that you still feel, helps guide you in this particular terrain today?
That's interesting. Well, I would say for me, the connection that I had with the Word of God I never really was feeling it like that, but I could take nuggets from it. And the one foundational thing that I didn't throw out, because, to avoid throwing the baby out with the bathwater, was the message of Christ consciousness. So immediately when I understood that this book it's a mashup of so many ancient texts. And once I began altering and shifting my frequency, the way I interpreted what I was reading was different. So the foundation of that was definitely the Christos, that metaphysical teaching. People forget that Christ had to go low before he went high. So we resonate with the journey of evolution, the journey of spiritual ascension. However, religion was very detrimental for us. We went through a long period of grieving. So for a while, it was like, don't touch it. That book was used to oppress so much and we're unsure. And you kind of have to wait till you link up with your ancestors and with your ancestral wisdom before you go back into it.
And for me, I just
Yes.
want to add, for me, it was the consistency. It was the consistency in seeing, I treat it as a virtual accountability partner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From the standpoint of you going hard, you continuing to go hard, you've been at it for such a long time, and you ain't letting up. You know what I'm saying? And when we see that, we can resonate with that, because that's our aim, and that's where we trying to get to. So yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Oftentimes it's said about people that pivot into spirituality that come from religious foundations, or even if people are looking at the conscious community, they say that they lack that level of quote unquote discipline, right? That might be taught in religious institutions, and then a level of quote unquote accountability, because there's some set level of precepts that are already in place for morale and certain things that a lot of people feel that spirituality might not emphasize.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
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 That's so true.
I talk to so many people. Not many people get out, So we kind of wanted to know a little bit more about you, because a lot of people that we talk to, they're still purging some of the negative effects from being brought up in religion. And so what was your
We're gonna get into that into it.
yeah, what was your, give us a snippet of what happened in your evolution. Like, were you aware of religion? Were you practicing at some point?
I was not born into religion necessarily. My mother, she was not in the church, and my father definitely was not. So I didn't have that particular foundation, as a child. But then in my social circle, and that was like from the age of, from being born to about 4 or 5, I became cognizant of religion because of my family members. My aunt, they were super religious, right? So I think they took me to one of the services that they go to, and they are Roman Catholics.
Okay.
And I was terrified because they was playing Gothic music, you know what I'm saying? And they had white men with robes on, and they was walking around with the incense. I was just like, yo, this shit. Because, I had seen a horror movie before.
The Omens or something,
The Exorcist. It was kind of daunting.
Yeah.
So that wasn't such a good experience. And then she moved to St. Croix, and we met SEBI.
Okay.
And then he was castigated on that island because they thought that he was an opium man, right? So there would be people that came down from the church that wanted to do harm to him. And I would always remember, sometimes it got violent. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand that. And on that island, it's dominated by Christianity. So you can't go to school. There's no regular school. So we had to go to school.
Wow.
Okay.
And it was like Catholic school.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they dress you up in ways that are not, edifying to who you are.
Yeah.
And then you go to school and they start hitting you with rulers and stuff off the break.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was very traumatic. And then when we were actually going to church, because, everybody in the community would go to church, it was like the social thing to do. That's where people was having sex at. It was just like,
It was wild.
Yeah.
it was a weird situation
Yeah.
that I didn't really get to extract any religious experience out of that.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was almost real bad for the brand.
Yeah.
Then I come back to the States, and I live with my father now, and it's the same thing that happens is that my social circle, everybody on my block, come Sunday, they was all getting in vans and going to Sunday school. And I asked my father, it's like, can I go? once I asked him, can I go? Can I experience what the hell is going on? And he was like, go see for yourself. And we went, and I remember distinctively it was Sunday school. They had the coloring books, or like the picture books in Sunday school that they show the children. And the depiction that I saw was, I forget what character out of the Bible it was, but God was like, if you love me, you will cut your child, and have some craziness.
Yeah.
He was holding the baby over the cliff.
Oh, no.
And about to cut him, I was just like, yo.
Yeah.
That's enough for me. I started asking questions because everybody in the pictorial book was white.
Yeah.
I had, I'd known about a little bit of history at that point. I'm like, how can they be in Africa and they
Everybody white.
I started asking questions, and they told them, don't bring them back anymore.
Ah.
How old were you?
It was a very short-lived relationship. I was 12.
Okay.
Dang.
Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, like you said, at that age, I know when I was 12, even growing up, for me, because I've been in, I've been in that upbringing, and so for me, I didn't really get serious about church until I was probably about 16. All them other years, it was participation, in socializing and stuff like that. And then when I got to be about 16 is when I really it started hitting me to that point. Yeah, so I can feel you when you say it didn't get ingrained in you to that extent. Yeah.
But then, I was still somewhat curious as to what the hold was that it had on people, and why so many people that I knew were participating, and the energy that they were putting into it. You feel me? And then my mother named me Paul, and she named my brother Philip. So I was always asking.
We cutting out, y'all. So just
y'all bear with us. Yeah.
We actually are having a thunderstorm currently at this moment.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
hopefully the power stay on and we're able to complete this. But it's we're gonna give him a moment. It's buffering.
Yep.
Thank y'all for joining us again.
Yeah. To our YouTube family, everybody that's on YouTube, we appreciate y'all for
Absolutely.
bearing with us, tuning in. Yeah.
Absolutely. He's gonna call back.
Yeah.
But while he's doing that, I just want to say again, thank y'all so much, because we didn't really plan this. We don't really have a script or anything that we're going by. We wanted to just do everything from our spirit, just to allow our soul to speak. So that's the conversation we had prior to this. So nothing is planned. You know what I'm saying? We're just kind of going with the flow of things, and we just go ride this out together. I want to thank everybody. We have the attention of a lot of people right now, and I just feel until he come back in, I just feel like I don't want to leave dead space, because this space is very, very sacred.
That's right.
We will get into which is going to lead us deeper into the conversation with Blue. I got a little nickname I gave Blue. I'm gonna wait till he back. Yeah. Peace, fam. Can you come back in? But I just want to say today is a galactic activation portal day according to the Mayan calendar.
Yes.
Which is,
the White World Bridger.
Yeah, White World Bridger. So we're going to break down what that means, because the reason why I don't want to leave any empty space is because this space is very sacred right now in this moment in time that you are watching this. So just be very discerning about where you put your energy and your attention right now, because you're going to reap a harvest that is going to be multiplied of whatever you sow your attention to. So I just want to say that, and we're going to break down the metaphysics of the energy and the harmonic frequency of today, not based on the 1320 Gregorian calendar, which is a matrix system of different fractals in which they have simulated this reality. We will get into the 1260, which is these are just different frequencies to describe the matrix that we're in right now. So hopefully he can come back in. I think he's having some trouble, but we're just gonna
You say
keep
it's
flowing.
commuting too. Yeah.
Okay, and he's commuting, so bear with us, and we're gonna go ahead and get into those things. And when he comes back, hopefully he can come back in. We're gonna do a game that we created, but it is really not a game, but it's a game because this awakening thing could be heavy sometimes, and it can be really dense. And a lot of
Yeah.
us are healing a lot of ancestral karma. A lot of us are clearing a lot of those things. So we want to just give you all guidance while we have your attention and let you know that we realize this space is sacred. Know that our ancestors are with us on today. We pour libations and got our altar ready, you know. So make sure that you're showing love to the ancestors for today. Even though today, according to the calendar, is for mothers, every day is for mothers. Every day is for fathers, to someone who is awakened. And we know the importance of where we put our energy, our frequency, our attention, and our mind. So yeah, I just wanted to segue that while we're waiting on him to come back in. You got
Pass
the
me that.
calendar.
Yeah, pass me the calendar. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes, I'm back.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, my apologies. I'm also in transit. I don't know if it's my connection or your connection per se, but I did get to my destination, so hopefully, the feed will be that much more stabilized.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'll continue where I left off. Is that when I came into the quest for knowledge of self, I had to go through my own, resonance in my name. I had to find out who is this person and why was I named this, and I was told I'm named after my father's brother, his favorite brother, right? Who was my uncle, who's deceased, Uncle Paul. And my brother was named after my father's brother.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But ironically, the name Paul means horse, and Philip means love of horse. So I'm like, did you plan that? And she's like, no. She's like, my mother's not religious. She don't know nothing about religion.
Yeah.
I don't think she's been into it at all ever in her life. So she's like, it just ended up like that. And I started doing the research. Got incarcerated, as everybody's story is. And I started noticing the polarization behind the wall of Christianity and Islam. I wanted to research and study both of them. But, they was like, you could either do one or the other. It was gang. And I was in Virginia, so it would be a detriment.
Yeah.
It was 90% Christian.
Ooh.
And it was only like 2% Islam.
Okay.
Right. So I started studying Islam.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I went with the underdog at that point. Because the brothers who was coming under Christianity, they was like subservient to the prison establishment, to the guards and everything. I just didn't like what I saw.
Yeah.
I was like, this is real. No, I'm not. But I was researching and studying everything because I had a little bit of time on my hand. And ironically, I came into contact with a book about the life of Paul. Right? And it was mind blowing. I was like, whoa, this is kind of deep. Saul and Paul, the whole story. You know what I'm saying? And more and more research. It's like the more that I kind of dug into these stories, the more it started opening up and exposing itself to me. Then I came in contact with a book called The Hiram Key. Okay. And that's what did it, right? Because The Hiram Key is a book written by Robert Lomas and another co-writer, and they're talking about Masonic secrets that don't supposed to have never been shared outside of the temple. And in that book, they're talking about Jesus was a twin, and his twin was named James, and they said the J's were interchangeable with P's. And James is James, also Thomas. My brother's middle name is Thomas, right? The doubting Thomas.
Wow.
And then it started talking about the Gospel of Philip, and I was like, wait, hold a minute, this is because then my research about Paul, they like, well, Paul wrote the Bible, right? 14 letters and everything.
Yep.
But he put all of the mysticism in it, right? The Eucharist, the whole resurrection story, the whole rapture, all of that was Paul, right? Paul put all of the mysticism, right? People are practicing what's known as Pauline Christianity to
That's
this day.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm here cracking codes, right? Searching for myself, finding myself in the mix. And then what blew the lid off is that when I found out that Paul started his mission in 44 AD in Antioch. And I was just like,
that did it.
what are we dealing with here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I'm finding myself in the research.
Yeah.
In the
Wow.
code. And then the entire Bible is coded throughout the Bible with 44. Specifically in passages written by Paul, in particular Galatians 4.4. You know, and I mean, it's just nonstop. All through Corinthians and everything else, you know, that entire book is coded with the number 44. So my research now into the number 44, which happened by way of, I was asked to do a lecture in 2009, along with Rashid, who was the Kabbalah god, and a brother named Ampul, who, Noble Ampul, he was a master astrologist at the time. He gave me a book called Time in the Technosphere, written by Jose Arguelles, who was the person who wrote The Mayan Factor, and also the person that founded something called The Law of Time, right?
We familiar with him.
And that's a whole discipline, right? He has his whole school speaking about correcting the clock and the calendar, right?
Exactly.
Bringing us back into alignment with Olmecan time,
Exactly.
that, you know, people call Mayan time.
Exactly.
So I'm deep diving, getting ready for this lecture, and in both fields of study, I come into contact with this number. When I'm studying Kabbalah, I'm coming into contact with the number 44, and it jumps at me because the number 4 was my grandfather's favorite number.
Okay.
He told me it's the only number in the universe that you can multiply and add both integers up, and you're gonna come up with 4. So 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 2 times 2 equals 4. He's like, no other number in the universe does that. He said the 4th orifice is the womb, right? All life comes through the number 4. 4 seasons, you know, all the other regular stuff that we know about 4, he broke down to me. And in my grandfather's later years, he would repeat something 1,000,000 times in one day. Right? So here I am spending time with him, you know, getting his life story and everything. My grandfather, key story about him, before Louis Farrakhan got with the Nation of Islam, he was my grandfather's student with Calypso, right? My grandfather's name was Lloyd Thomas. He was called the Prince. And at the time, Farrakhan's name was the Charmer. And he said he introduced him to his wife. You know, the lady that Farrakhan ended up marrying. Is her name Khadija? But yes. So, you know, I used to think that I was like, come on, Grandpa. And then he brought me to meet Farrakhan one day in Harlem on 129th Street and 7th Avenue. And they brought me on stage and everything in front of the nation. It was just amazing. And I was like, wow, my grandfather ain't capping. So, you know, I honored him, you know what I mean? But in his later years, I was really getting to know him more. And that's like what he was always hitting on, the importance of the number 4. So here I'm doing my research, and the number 44 kept jumping out, and I'm like, that number's speaking to me. So I started doing my research on it, and it just started revealing so much, just opening up an entirely new world, you know. And then I'm putting together what I'm learning about in astrology, together what I'm learning about with Kabbalah. And I'm studying Bobby Hemmett at the time. I'm a student of Valentine. You know, so the metaphysics was also intact. And it just, like I said, I you know, they say that you take 2 steps towards the Most High, and the Most High will take steps towards you. That's what was taking place. I was looking for myself, and I was uncovering so much that I had not anticipated uncovering. You feel me?
That's deep.
Like my mother tell you and Retta tell you, I was like 5 years old, and I told my mother, I was like, I think I came here to save the world. She laughed at me. And then we was in the streets, we was knuckleheads, you know, for about 15 or something years. And I used to tell Red, I'd be like, yo, man, I'm finding out stuff about, you know, who we possibly, it was very mythological, right? I've always been into the mythos. I've always had a very vivid imagination. But I was telling him, I'm like, yo, I'm not in my imagination. Like, stuff is really jumping out at me. I'm having experiences, you know what I'm saying? I'm encountering things, stuff that I can't explain.
Yeah.
And I was just attempting as best I could to hip him, you know, to wake him up so he could see some of the things that I was seeing. And he eventually came around to it. But, you know, in the beginning, it wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting
It was like
that you.
sleepwalking. We was the Walking Dead.
So okay, I know you go break down. It's funny, the synchronicity, because I promise you, I just told y'all we didn't sit down and talk about any of this. We wanted to make sure that this was truly organic, because it's too much synthetic right now anyway. So getting back to the organic, that's just the way, a way of life. So we wanted to keep this organic. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, because we were going to break down today as a galactic activation portal day. And according to the Mayan calendar, the galactic activation portal days, we're going to read about what that means. But for those who are sensitive to energy, it almost feels like a day out of time sometimes.
Yes, which technically would be July 25th is
Exactly.
the
260
you know, the
day.
day at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And so
61st
everything
day,
that you're saying, we were just gonna get into that when we got disconnected. So if we could just share this with you guys, and then I told everybody I got a nickname for you. I've been calling him Uncle Pill, you know what I'm saying, Uncle Blue Pill, because you know that's how he make me feel. He like that cool ass uncle who you can talk to about anything, and what's so
I've been a nephew long enough.
it's time to graduate. Like, we gotta graduate him, y'all. This is Uncle. Okay.
Hey, you've been wearing the hat too. You know what I'm saying? You've been wearing the hat a long time. Yeah.
So Uncle Blue Pill, shit. I said we gonna have to adopt him. We need adoption papers.
Yeah.
This is family right here.
Yeah. So according to the Mayan calendar, this is the spectral moon of liberation, the entire month between May the 2nd through May the 29th. This is the spectral moon of liberation. And again, as we stated, today is a white electric world bridger. White electric world bridger. And
I'm the red electric serpent.
That's interesting too, because the totem animal for this whole moon period is the serpent. And so, yeah, that's the alignment is just
Yeah.
You
can't make this up, you
That's
know.
it.
I mean, and this what we're talking about. The you know, in that discipline they talk about the synchronicity factor. You know what I'm saying? And I always speak about, you know, the way that I kind of arrived where I just got hit by so much synchronicity that I just gave in. I'm like, yo, this is, and now I call it synchromysticism. Right? It's speaking to you, right? It's like you can't plan for this. It just is what it is.
That's right.
And it's the movement of energy. And the serpent gets castigated, you know, through time. But do we understand the serpent to be a symbol for electromagnetism, right? The movement of energy that has got a very bad rap through time. You know what I mean? That's why you have to go to mythology to kind of unlock, you know what I'm saying, these particular truths that have been encapsulated in story.
Yeah, that's so true.
The page in here, Galactic Activation Portal, was that what you was gonna read next?
Yeah, but I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, that's phenomenal, because everything that you're saying, we came across this information not much different than you. It was from synchronicities was happening, and You know, I don't know if you got a chance to go back to my story, but you know, when people talk about coming up out the mud, like that was really my story. You know, I was in the trenches. And I went from being a wealthy daughter of, I'm a military brat. So I went from that lifestyle, you know, and when him and my mom divorced, I got put in the trenches. I was in the hood. I was in the hoodiest hood of Memphis at the time. And so this was the first time I was seeing people get murdered, and I was seeing the crack era, and I went seeking. I knew that there had to have been more to life than what I was seeing our people participating in. So that started the journey. To make a long story short, how we got to this was through when I first started meditating. I had died twice, clinically dead, pronounced.
Okay.
And so yeah, if you go back, and it's crazy because I documented all of it. So I've been doing YouTube and just documenting. I don't even know why, but I felt like it was something people needed to see, and it was a really deep yearning for me to allow people to see this. And so after talking to what we would call Source, the creator, twice, we went over my soul contract, and I was like, I gotta go back, you know. But the experience alone was enough to activate me, and that's when I started separating from the system, the programming, the simulation, and tapping into that. So how we got to this information was because of 44. And so it was us, it was Dr. Bay, it was you. We all were talking about the same things at the same time. And it was just mind blowing because I'm looking at y'all again. I'm looking up, you know. And so I came out of religion, and I came out of a lot of trauma. My story, I've been very open about my story, about those things. And so just to see the synchronicity when I started searching for the information, that's how we came across this. And so this is phenomenal. We did a whole webinar series teaching how to use this so that you can create your own synchronicities. And ultimately what is happening, the DNA activating is not for us to just have fun and come online and have all of these beautiful spiritual gifts that we're being able to use to rebuild lay a new grid system, a new energetic grid on the planet. But we're coming across this information so that we can begin activating what's dormant. So this knowledge belongs to us. You know, it's ancestral.
I came across in my research a group of deities, entities called the Zeptepi, right?
Yep.
And you know, I want to spell that for the family if they want to research it. Zeptepi, Zeptepi, out of Kemet.
Okay.
And the Zeptepi are the entities that come during the beginning of ages to seed the age.
Yeah.
You feel me? They're the ones that kind of like create the swirl that becomes the ripple, right? That ripples through these ages. So, you know, they're saying that we're at the beginning of Aquarian, right? I mean, of course, when you go through Hebrew, Aquarian is a number, another motif that equals the number 44.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're just like how we could say, oh, the age of Pisces kind of was typecast with the number 33.
Yep.
Well, the number 44 is kind of a signaling or a motif of the fact that we are in this new era, this new epoch. You know what I'm saying? And as Zeptepis, you know, as 44 resonators, you feel me? I feel that, yes, we have definitely come back to see this particular epoch and this era with this energy and this information. It's not to be utilized, like you said, for fun and games. We got work to do. Because this is literally the work that can last for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. So I want to read about the White World Bridger too. So for everybody that's with us, they'll know. And y'all, you definitely want to get a Mayan calendar and begin to learn about yourself, studying about your own galactic signature and how it relates to where you are right now in your life. Yeah. The White World Bridger, the emphasis is equalizes death and opportunity. And it says, you were, you will be. Know this while you are. Your spirit has traveled both long and afar. It rose from the source, to the source it returns. The spark which was lighted eternally burns. And that's
one of the quotes from the Mori, which is it's just a prophetic text that's based on this frequency. Yeah.
World Bridge represents revelation, realization of the mortality of the physical body, the organic balance of life and death, the realm of neutrality, which facilitates bridging and connection, intimate exchange with the spirit of the ancestors. As a force of equalization, the inevitability of death humbles us all. As we contemplate how all things have an eventual ending, we are drawn into the richness of the now. With the perception that death equals opportunity, we find a sacred key that speaks not only of our imminent passing beyond this physical body, but also in regards to ego death. By continually shedding what no longer serves, we learn to yield to death as a natural overturning of cyclical processes. Releasing identities and surrendering attachments grants us access to new worlds. So World Bridge asks the question, what within your life is asking to be let go of or ended to make way for a new cycle to begin? What is discovered when you contemplate our human mentality or human mortality? How can we overcome fear of death and find trust in the journey of life? How can we honor the reality of death in all its facets as a sacred ally of life? Let us welcome the power of death to liberate us from self-defeating habits, fears, and limitations.
Wow. You read the Galactic Activation Portal one.
I
After
would-
that, wow. So y'all see the alignment with all of that with today. So even for those of you who may not have tapped into this information as of yet, we actually have the Mayan calendar. It's a beautiful, beautiful calendar that you can get. It's digital, and you can also order it to have it to hang in your home. We can make that available to you guys. We will share the information. If you will go to the website, remnantsgathering.com, we have it there, but it's called the 13 Moon Calendar. 13moon.com. You could go there as well. But for anybody who wants to attain this calendar, we can make that available to you. So that you can begin using these affirmations and knowing when you're having a galactic activation portal day, because on these days, just like it said, we're able to access these what they call dormant strands of DNA, and you're able to self-realize beyond the 3D matrix that a lot of us have had to overcome the indoctrination of. Yeah. And so we're going to read to you what the Galactic Activation Portal Day, what it is and what you can expect and experience, and allow Uncle Blue Pill to come back and share some beautiful things before we get into the game.
The Galactic Activation Portals, y'all. This symbol signifies a Galactic Activation Portal Day. These days invite you to enter gateways of expanded consciousness and amplify your awareness of energy flows and information exchange. Within the 260-day galactic cycle, there are 52 portals. These specific kin form the loom of the Maya, which is a bilateral symmetry pattern that reflects the basic pattern of our DNA double helix. Integrating the galactic code of light into the genetic code of life, this portal formation is a resonant structure linked to the activation of our full DNA potential. And so, in understanding the galactic activation portal days, as it said, all it is where we're able to tap into a greater degree of consciousness and information exchange. And so, again, go to 13moon.com and you can get a digital copy of the Mayan calendar, the galactic calendar. Looks like that there. Yeah.
So until Blue come back on, we can continue to go forward with this bill until he comes back in, you know. So again, thank y'all so much. It's interesting how we're having a little bit of interaction today with something that is making a signal, not stick. So we're not sure on whose end it is, but it doesn't matter because again, we're tapping into this energy and we're gonna make it do what it do and keep on moving.
That's right.
So he'll be back in, I'm sure, and we'll have a strong connection from this point. So I felt like doing this show today, before we really realized the depth of what was happening. I just want to share something with you guys just from my soul at this moment. We are, let me say this. So with today being Mother's Day, first let me start off with this. The matrilineal DNA lineage has been exploited so much. And what women incarnated in physical body on this planet have experienced has been very detrimental and traumatic, to say the least, especially melanated women. And I just want to say to y'all here that with the healing that we are doing, and we are regathering those parts of ourselves, the soul retrieval. When you go on the journey of spiritual awakening, the journey that Uncle Blue Pill was talking about, you know, this is the journey where you begin to question everything. And that's not something that's acceptable on this planet either. So we're all sacred rebels sitting here right now, and we're finding a way. So as the oracle, I just feel like I need to share this message that has been heavy on me all day. Again, we did want to give you all some ancient information because that's what we know we have been called to do, which is relationship alchemy, understanding the mythology of stories that a lot of us are very familiar with, like Isis, Osiris, and Horus, and just going through that energy and the merging of the divine masculine and divine feminine. So for the women here, and fellas too, you know, we are leaving humanity. So we're keeping some of the humanity, being able to see God in each other. But as we self-realize, whether you know it or not, we are going through a process of self-actualization. So with the energy from today, we're going to be able to tap in more to our authentic selves. That is something that I call your I-divinity, which is not the same thing as your identity. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm just channeling right now. Yeah.
I heard everything that you said.
Okay.
I don't know why they wasn't showing me on the screen.
Yeah.
But I do apologize. I'm moving from one venue to another and everything.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, to speak on the synchronicity, even, you know, the breakdown that you were reading about the energy of the day, you know, it one kind of sounds like what I was talking about with the Zep-Tepes. And two, you know what I'm saying? It also speaks to that Scorpion moon that just hit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just basically just expressing to them what's happening in this moment in time, and just encompassing that in conversation. And we'll get a chance to get more into the convo, because he has a beautiful project that he's working on, a book that we want to talk about, which is why we wanted to tap into this 44 energy and this galactic cosmic wisdom. But again, I want to say this. I feel that there are a lot of people here. You know, we may, whether you know it or not, but we do put people on a pedestal. And I just want to remind you that the same greatness that you see in Blue Pill and even us is the same greatness that is within you. And we are created of this very strong resonance. So I just want to encourage people to keep doing the work, whatever you're doing, whatever resonates with you. You know, it's time for us to be in the place of no judgment, so that we can allow these activations to do what they're meant to do. It's time that we begin focusing on the importance of why we are here. So I just wanted to encourage y'all and just say that, because I can feel everybody here right now, and I can hear some of the things that's going on, and I know that currently in this moment as we're shifting through these different parts of the photon belt. For some of us, whether you know it or not, you can feel it. It's something that you just experience intuitively and feel. So I just wanted to encourage y'all and say that. Thank y'all again for being here. And we're gonna let him continue to talk. And I don't know how much longer we got you for. We don't want to keep you for too long.
Now you got me.
Okay, cool,
okay.
cool. All right. Yeah, we got a babysitter for 2 hours tonight, so we got lucky. Ain't nobody trying to watch no kids, especially on Mother's Day.
I know that's right.
Grandmamas ain't like they used to be. Grandmamas be trying to get it percolating.
Man, what? You know it. Yep.
Percolating.
We got these young grandmamas.
Young grannies. Young grannies.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So you want to start the game?
Yeah. We called it. You remember we called it Into It. Let's get into it. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna shout out a phrase or a word, and we just gonna let you come off the dome and drop the jewels.
Yeah.
Okay. All
All right. So phrase. Let's get into it. Top moves right now for generational wealth.
You said 2 rules for generational wealth?
Top rules for generational wealth. RULES. Top rules for generational wealth.
Top rules for generational wealth?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's invest and divest, right? So let me explain. You want to invest, you want to put money in a particular place, and you want to divest your time and attention from that particular investment. Because, we have a tendency to penny pinch time.
Yeah.
The same way that we could penny pinch a penny, we could penny pinch a second. Oh, I got to keep looking and watching. And it's like, you don't watch plants grow.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
You have to have the mentality of a farmer. Right?
Yeah.
As long as you know that you have worked or you have tested the soil, put the plant there and be confident enough to go and do something else and allow that seed to germinate into that particular plant.
Okay.
Investment is the same thing. So as a people, we don't have a long-term mentality. Right? Because we come from a deaf culture. Any and everything about our environment is telling us that we're not going to make it tomorrow. So now we're telling people to be disciplined, to say, look, put a seed in the ground that's going to manifest itself in 10 years. You have to have a whole different mentality in order to be successful in this particular wealth-generating investment, situation that we find ourselves in. So you have to invest and divest.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay, what's your top move for the Black community?
The top move?
Yeah.
Investment.
Okay. So we it's investment, hands down.
Yes.
Investing.
Yes, because again, the shift in mentality that comes with investment brings about 2 different things. It brings about a reevaluation of value.
Okay.
Right, and also a mentality, if I'm able to project myself 10, 20, 30 years into the future, then I'm staking myself into this reality. And then by me staking myself into this reality, it's going to be very hard for someone to just lift me and take me up out of here. Once again, we have categorically been involved with a death culture, right?
Yeah.
So people wear death. I could get on the bus, I could get on the train and be like, yo, homie got death on him. I can see it. Right? Especially for those that can see. You like, yo, he just got death on him. It's gonna catch up with him eventually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You can see that.
Yeah.
And then I've been in neighborhoods, like I'm in LA right now. At night in certain neighborhoods, you are in a mentor. You can feel it. You like, yo, this is the underworld. You can feel it. When I go to Columbus, I can feel it. When I'm in Newark, I can feel it. When I'm in LA in certain hoods, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, the veil is hella thin. I'm in the underworld right here.
Yeah. And you.
So if we become more bullish on our future, right? On life. The fact that, yeah, you have made an investment and you want to stick around to see your $1 grow to 100, you're going to become a little bit more enthusiastic about life. To be like, yo, I want to be around to see that.
Yes.
You're making that affirmation to the cosmos. Now the cosmos is having a different conversation with you. They're like, oh, so you want to be here, huh? Because everything else that you was telling me is that you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm just granting your wish. However ghoulish or ghoulish it might look, you put that signal out.
You're right. Yep. Yep.
This shit ain't random.
Yep.
It's call and response.
Yep.
And you there reciting all them lyrics. You feel me? Not knowing that those are incantations. And the universe is like, oh, really? Okay, I'm going to swoop down and grant your wish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes. Indeed.
So somebody that's investing, they're not going to listen to, 2 or 3 or 4 years into the game. They're not going to want to hear trap rap where everything is, I'm going to run down and gun you down. And they like, nah, like, that's not consistent with my investments. Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
I'm not even into that no more.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. So I want to add to it, but I'm going to keep going and let you keep getting into it because you're on a roll here. What would you like to say to goddesses, mothers, female incarnates, divine feminines watching us today?
Once again, there's a necessary evaluation of value, right? Stop looking for validation and verification in all of the wrong places. Because what that speaks to, right, and what the enemy can smell, and what people who have now exploited your vulnerabilities can smell, is that you don't have an internal value system, right? Somebody did not instill values in you, so you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking for verification and validation in people who can't possibly see you for who and what you are, even if they got on bifocals, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was an intended pun.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So this all goes back to value.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
And
we have allowed, societal factors to rob us of our value. And we are just like in a pool of devalued, quote unquote, people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With expensive stuff on, confusing cost with value.
That's true. Yeah.
And you wouldn't need all of that designer to cover up the fact that you don't have value. So you put cost over that. But you got a $5,000 bag full with $500 in it.
It's a waste. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Why? Yeah.
You got a $500,000 car parked outside of an apartment that you pay $500 a month in. In the projects, right?
Yeah.
These are value issues.
Yeah. Misplaced values.
Somebody robbed you of your value.
Yeah.
And you allowed it, you allowed them to fleece you of that because you could only give it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody could jump out with the pistol and rob you of something. You don't got to give it up.
Yeah.
Remember back in the days, it's like it's your money or your life.
Yeah.
Money or your life.
Yeah.
You could proverbially choose to die for yours, but you gave it up.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Talk to us about DNA activation. DNA activation at this point in time right now.
Gold water.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We done had some. We got you. We got you.
You need to go to goldwater.com.
Yeah.
And get you some gold.
Yeah.
But, if you can't have access to gold, your DNA activation can also come from breathing. Learn you a breathing regimen. I have a 4-4 breathing regimen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting concentration over your breathing state can take you into theta. And if you get into theta, then you can activate yourself and your DNA.
That's
Yes.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
important.
That just goes back to the attack on the lungs and the breath with the whole pandemic and corona.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
The
get
attack
into
on the lungs is everything.
Yeah.
Because it's an attack on spirit itself.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah.
These people have figured a way how to cut you off from source.
Yeah.
And now it's a voluntary process. I mean, this is very obtrusive, having to go places and wear masks. You know, for the first time the other day, I felt the feeling of suffocation, and it's not a good feeling. Like, I was on a plane, and the plane is an enclosed place,
Right.
where air is trapped.
Right.
And I don't know why this time was different than other times, because I've been on a plane. You know, there wasn't one day last year where I wasn't outside.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Doing me.
Yeah.
I ain't get caught up in none of that stuff. But, you know, I was on planes and trains and buses, and they had social distancing. People were separated.
Yeah.
The plane I was on the other day was packed like sardines. And I had the mask on, and I felt the shortness of breath. Right?
Yeah.
And I was not getting, it wasn't circulating properly on that plane. And I got nervous. You feel me? And I had to get into my breathing regimen. You know what I mean? I had to tap into I had to slow things down.
I've been learning that, man. It regulate your nervous system. Yeah.
I don't know what was going on, but it felt very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable, because I'm sitting there. I think, you know, I was attempting to go to sleep, but I'm sleeping with a mask on.
Okay.
So I'm recirculating all this hot ass air, right? In this mask, and then there's no fresh air in the airplane. So I think that I was in between dream states, but it felt like I was suffocating, and I was like, yo, this is not cool. For a glimpse of a second, I felt what it must feel like that people are now suffering with the thing, because they tell me about the symptoms. I don't wish that on nobody.
Right.
I don't wish that on nobody, but they cold-blooded for cutting people off from spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, it's saying we only have 45 seconds remaining.
Oh, what?
Yeah. We don't.
We can. Well, we if it cut off, we just get back on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we got a few more questions we wanted to
and we
present
know.
to you.
Yeah, we want to definitely get into the. We definitely want to get into the corona and
Convo with the cosmos.
Yes.
Yeah. Got to. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we need to. I got some questions for y'all too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know you do, Unc. Unc always gonna make sure.
You know, for the audience, we're gonna tap out and get back back in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Get in it, but we on it. So
yeah.
Join us, y'all.
Yes,
sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
So YouTube, y'all hold on a second.
Yeah, y'all hold on.
We're gonna log off and log back on. On IG for those, you know, who a lot of people don't use YouTube as much as IG, so that's why we wanted to be on both platforms today. So yeah, we're gonna call him back and get him back in there and restart that up. While we're doing that, like always, I mean, I got plenty to say and talk about. But while we're doing that, for those of you all watching on YouTube, I'm really glad that we did both, because we probably could have missed out on a lot of this, and this is definitely something that we don't want to miss out on. What, it's not letting you do it?
If you continue this live video, it won't be saved.
It's okay. We got the YouTube, so
Yeah.
I'm recording it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say one other thing while we getting everything set up with IG for those of you on YouTube.
Okay.
You know, I know that with everything that is happening right now, with spirit being under attack and the attack being on the crown chakra, it can get overwhelming. you know, and it's we're having to learn how to reprogram ourselves, reprogram our subconscious mind, so that we can be in alignment with what's happening within our DNA, having the mind heart coherence. So, you know, just keep tapping in and bearing with us, because as we're talking, these are activations, with these sound frequencies and the wisdom that you are receiving. And the intention is not for you to be dependent on anything outside of you to receive what
Breaking
you
up.
need.
We breaking up? You said we breaking up?
Huh?
You good? We good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. All right.
All right. So I was just, you know, doing a little segue until we got you back on here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we want to get into
Yes. You were
religion.
talking about the attack on the crown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So if you could share with us one more thing, what would you say? What do you think is the important message right now regarding the crown chakra and just being in alignment, having that brain, that mind heart coherence? Because we've been living out of our heads for so long, and now we're having to make decisions out of our heart. So let's get into it.
And maybe you can add into this, right? In the traditional system, they call it an ori,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep your ori clear. Can't let people touch your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have to protect your crown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women, you should cover your crowns if necessary and need be.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Treat this like it's a spiritual attack,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, you know, for the young kings, you know what I'm saying? They say heavy is the head that wears the crown. You come for your crown.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So you got to protect your crown at all costs. Your crown encompasses your entire head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your head has these openings and these orifices in them. So you got to be protective of what you listen to, of what you see, and what you put into your mouth. Because all of this encompasses your crown.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to protect your neck and everything above it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're coming for your head like Ichabod praying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People think it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can't, they're not, for whatever reason, they're unable to see this march. They're unable to see, you know, they can't hear, you know, get on your mark, ready, set, the pistol already went off.
Mm-hmm.
It's a race to the finish line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The traps have been set, the die has been cast, the lines have been drawn.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's on and popping. It's nothing less than a spiritual war taking place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And once again, you know, these are the dangers of totally divesting yourself of the warnings that come by way of the book. Because the book is a retelling of the mythos, and the mythos are repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The book is just encases, you know, a collection of these are the modern day mythos, but those mythos are consistent.
What?
You feel me? And there's still a script and there's still a narrative.
Oh, yeah.
We still live in what my friend
That's
Buddha
showing.
Clinks calls
What do you think?
the Jesus crisis narrative.
Let's talk about it.
Right?
Yeah.
Simply by the fact that if I ask you what's today's date, what's today's date?
Oh, the 9th. You talking about May 9th? Or you
The whole date.
2021.
Right? So again, we can feel how we feel.
Yeah.
We can know what we know. Right? But
Yeah.
admittingly, we live, right, by default,
In
by
the Matrix.
self-admitting inside of the Jesus crisis narrative.
Yes.
By us
Yes.
even saying that today is May 8th, 2021, we're acknowledging, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we live within that particular construct.
That's right. Yeah.
So you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because what? Even the book told you that there's going to be a warfare taking place with our principalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we at.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
These
Yeah.
people got plans to attack the sun.
Right.
Diabolical.
Yes, yes. Giving
This
us,
is not,
giving us the holographic.
yeah, you're dealing with some evil geniuses.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you can't afford to sleep on.
That's so true. We
So
got
you're
it,
gonna take a long nap,
man.
right? They have disrupted the institution of death. They've interrupted
Mm-hmm.
the institution of death. There's so many earthbound spirits here because of 2020 alone. This place is crowded.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Definitely been hijacked.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised of the spiritual workers that they took naps. I'm surprised that the church went to sleep at the finish line. So many people, so many institutions went to. We're the African traditionalists.
Yeah.
We're the spiritualists.
Yeah.
We're the mediums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to tell you where Bobby Christina said when she crossed, where them people at?
Yeah.
Why is nobody telling the story of all of these displaced spirits that got jacked up
Yeah.
and murdered in these hospitals?
Right, right, right. Yup. Mm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is.
So my thing started with Nipsey and Kobe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nipsey in particular was the harbinger of things to come,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't Christ. He was a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
That there will be a second coming, right? Of the second coming of the king.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sun is Leo, right? The sun is the king of kings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still a step down representation of something that's behind that sun.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were ready, we weren't. They knew what was coming, we don't.
Yep. Yep.
They running plays, we not.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And it's cool to have interpretations. It's cool to witness it. It's cool to point things out. But it's like, we got to be active.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our lives and the lives of our children depend on it. We are in the midst of a species terminus program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they put points on the board.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They put points on the board.
Yeah.
You feel me? And spirituality, this is what I was talking about. It makes people so lackadaisical.
Yeah.
They be like, oh, spirit's going to deal with it. They're not going to win in the end. All right, but can you tell me how they not?
what you doing? Yeah.
You don't have to know everything at all times.
Yeah.
But the magic is in the momentum, right?
And the work.
You have to be moving towards victory and know that you are moving towards victory in order to be victorious. You're just not going to wake up and everything's going to take care of itself.
That's right. That's right.
That's not how it goes.
Nah.
You got to put in the work.
That's right. That's right.
That's deep. It's funny you said that because one major key for us as well was with Kobe. He came and talked to me right after he crossed over, and some of the things that he shared with me, I don't know, it was so significant, and so that was, prior to, I had a dream that I saw the church in the form of a Black woman, and she was in a hospital bed and she was dying. And the people who are responsible for carrying on some of the traditions that oppressed us. So even if we weren't really indoctrinated in religion, you were touched by it. The monotheistic religions on this planet, we have all been touched by it. Can you hear us?
Can you hear now? Okay.
Good.
All right.
We have all been touched by this thing called religion. So in a dream I had back in 2010, 2011, 44 is what was waking me up. I was waking up at 4:44 a.m. And so in the dream, this Black woman was dying, and the people who were responsible on this planet, who were supposed to awaken the generations before us, who didn't do it. It's still breaking up? Okay, cool. Who didn't do it, they were standing around arguing about the resources. They were arguing over who the wealth was going to be transferred to. And so as I'm witnessing this, and then we began to awaken. That's when I started doing really, really deep diving in all of the religions, just like you did. And that led us to the functionary, which is really interesting because I found his definition of religion, and it was so profound. It was almost as if he was expressing what a lot of us were already feeling. So that day I found that.
They say they can't hear.
Okay, it's muted. Okay, can you all? So some can hear us and
So
some
some
can't.
can't.
Okay.
You now.
Okay.
Awesome. So
Talking about the functionary.
yes.
Yeah.
So with the definition of religion, it was so profound. It was expressing every single thing that we had learned in our journey. So I was sitting there and I said, you know what? We need to manifest and ask the ancestors to put this man, that this information, this wisdom came through, so that we can be in touch with him and bring him on our show. And so I'm literally sitting in the room and I'm like, let's just focus our intention on that and create that moment in time and invite him into our reality. So I went to an old post from Facebook that he made probably 7 years ago. And I found, I'm a black woman, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm real. We're some of the best investigators in the world. And if you don't believe me, then try to lie to us and see. So I was doing my investigating, and I found an email. And so I emailed him, and I sent a message to the Facebook, the profile associated with Facebook. Within 7 minutes, he called. My phone is ringing, and it's ringing from DC. And so I had family there, so I was thinking it was family, but the number wasn't saved. I answered it, and he was like, "This is Dr. Blind. Did you email me?" I mean, it blew my mind. And so we brought him on the show. It was really, really deep. You all have to check that out. It's on our YouTube. For those of you all who are on Instagram, you can go back and watch that. We brought him on the show, and he basically expressed to us that after he did the functionary, it just became dangerous for him to be on the forefront, and that it was so much happening in the background between the conscious community, a lot of the teachers, and plants. People who had been implanted into the conscious community, basically to stop the union, the unity, and the foundation, so that we could build on it and get to where we are now. So he laid back and he pulled back, and stopped doing interviews. All of that. He was totally off the grid. And he asked me, "How did you find me?" And I told him, and he was like, "That's just the ancestors." And he was like, that's a synchronicity I can't deny. I want to come on the show. So now, for those of you who would like to get the functionary, all you have to do is send us a message on remnantsgathering.com, and we will link you up, because he doesn't have a website or anything like that, but we'll make sure that you can get a copy of the functionary. And we wanted to share with you briefly some of what he expressed about religion. So if we can get into that, but before we do, Ernest picked up on something that we just noticed now.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been talking about synchronicities and everything, and the page that religion is on is 444. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to lie. Y'all see that 444 right there on the side? Yeah.
Can you show it to them?
Yeah, that's an amazing body of work that he created.
Yeah.
Y'all see
It
that?
is.
Yeah, I got it.
We didn't notice any of that until just now. It's just
Right. Yeah. But it says, myth chasing its tail, misunderstood mythology, the stairway to heaven. To bind again, a bondage, a deep reverence for that which is perceived to be external to and greater than oneself. A hairy concept trapped in fuzzy minds and vice versa. Psycho-emotional bonding and binding. The deification of escape to the unconscious. The methadone for the masses. The trap of defining the way prescribed truths rather than discovering and uncovering it, one's own inner truth. A proxy for numinous life encounter. And then the corpse of religiousness, the ultimate drug, a unifying group dynamic arising out of a set of fixated, and asphyxiating beliefs relating to the worship of an ideal which offers fixed answers about one's place in existence.
And let me just chime in right there and say this. So the asphyxiation that he expresses, the reason why we had to experience this whole this attack on the lungs and on the breath is because in order to come out of the asphyxiation that a lot of us have been touched by generationally on this planet, we had to go back into it. So it goes back to the invest and divest. So as you are investing your consciousness, we're going back into asphyxiation so that we can develop our connections with source energy ourselves versus reaching for something outside of us. So as we are experiencing this, it's like Hegelian dialect. And nothing is what it seems. There's always many truths. There's not two sides to a story. There are infinite sides to a story, especially to someone who is tapping into the infinite mind of infinite intelligence. So yeah.
Even with that being said, they say that you could find, once again, if we exist everywhere, you can find yourself in all things.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
There still is a true way and a possibility.
Yes.
For somebody again to uncover certain truths within religion.
Yeah.
Because you existed there.
Yeah.
How could you not if you were part of the all?
That's
Exactly.
so true.
So I hear what people are saying, but I hear people, like, a lot of what's being said comes from trauma.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And then I didn't have that trauma bond, so I was able to go into certain things and extract certain gems without the
binding.
bags and the grooves of the trauma. But I hear a lot of the trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
get it. I understand.
Yeah. And again, not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but to go back into that, it's just a process of alchemy. It is a process of transmutation, exploration, and evolution. So, I foresaw the pandemic coming of probably 10 to 15 years ago in dreams I was uploading on YouTube that I was having. And so when there was a certain amount of things that occurred where I knew the preparation needed to be breath work. The preparation needed to be, it's not so much so about what's outside of you, but being reminded of the power that is within, and to truly go within.
That's right.
And so from a lot of this happening, we came out of religion because of a lot of the dreams and the visions that I was having and experiencing. I didn't know I was an oracle. Everybody in the church called me a prophet. I was actually being hired to travel and prophesy. And so I did this for decades. So when I went through the awakening, it was definitely traumatic to realize the whole foundation of what you stood on, which was the structure of your reality, was misinterpreted, falsehood, methadone to the masses per se. So yes, it's heartbroken, it's detrimental, and we can look at situations like I call him Action Jackson. That situation, it just shows how detrimental it is when you begin to asphyxiate the life force, the creator that is within all of us. We are all God experiencing humanity. And when you separate those things and you try to fit into the fabric of something that is not in alignment with your harmonic frequency, you're going to have that deep heartbreak and that deep wounding. So I come from both sides of it. I see both sides of it. Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to turn it over to you and let you take over. We got a good, strong signal now. I don't want to take advantage of it.
No. Again, where do you want me to segue from? Because you said a lot.
Man, and my mind is moving 1,000,000 miles a minute right now at the speed of light. Just what would you like to share with us right now? What do you feel in your heart that you would like to share? I feel like you spoke to the ladies, you spoke to the women What about for the men, the divine masculines? What can they be doing? And I'm directing this to you, and I want to say I would like to share an observation that I've made in deep contemplation about you and your very existence. You are one of the most heartfelt, heart-led, sacred space carrying, know how to create structure, create a container with that masculine energy for the feminine energy to do what it is doing right now in time and space, what we would call time and space on this planet. Just your energetic signature. I come from a background of sexual abuse. And sexual abuse, molestation at the hands of family members. So for me, masculine energy always kind of was a double-edged sword, and it was like it's safe, but it's potentially not safe. And when I came across you, your energy just was so peaceful and heart-centered, and you appear to have found a way to neutralize the ego in a way where you're able to cultivate the atmosphere where it just feels safe. And that for me was a gift for me, because I was reprogramming myself and how I respond to masculine energy, and being able to not perceive masculine energy through my trauma, but to see God in masculine energy. So I just wanted to drop that piece in there because it's so important, who you are, your existence, and the way that you share yourself with the world. Because as a lot of melanated men are awakening, there aren't really not that many role models, and there is no manual as to what to do and how to do that, how to be a father, how to be a husband, how to just be a divine masculine anchor on this planet for the consciousness that is awakening.
So before I was any of those things, I was a son, right? So that level of calmness, I guess, and being there as a protectorate came from watching my mother. You know what I'm saying? And seeing her perform the duties that she felt natural, you know what I'm saying, that she was naturally inclined to perform, and doing them in a particular way where, she brought everything to the table, but wasn't necessarily rewarded in the same way. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And then you become somewhat protectorate because you like, damn, you can see through this. Mm-hmm. And you like, I don't like the way that,
it's
my
going
mother
down.
was treated in that particular situation.
Yeah.
I think that when a child sees their mother cry, you know what I'm saying, or be in pain in a particular way, you either gonna do one or two things. You're gonna become the person that you despise, right? Because you can't alchemize the situation, so you ultimately become that. Or you decide to be like, I'll never want to do that. So I have to, figure out psychologically what triggers somebody to be in that space. I don't want to be that person. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I think that in my life, I've probably been both. That I'm able to find some level of a mid-ground, and I just operate from that space. I know that you can't go through the world looking at every woman like they your mother.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But they somebody's mother.
That's right. Yep.
Right? Even if they haven't conceived, they got all of the eggs within them. So I would just tell the brothers that, a true sign of your power is your ability to not abuse it. Right? There's nothing more stronger than that. It's too easy to abuse power because they say that power corrupts all.
Yeah.
Are you going to be that rare example? You feel me? And then understanding this aspect of being the one, you have to understand that 99% are not like you. So you can't even look outside and expect that you're going to see a replication of yourself for the activities that you're supposed to carry out. You have to be the one. So you got to be somebody that you've never met. Right?
That's so true.
So I just started doing a lot of things that I've just seen other people around me not doing. And that's where you find your genuineness at. Like, okay, I'm uniquely me because nobody else is doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than me convincing somebody that, yo, you shouldn't do it like that, you just be the one to do it different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be the juxtaposition to be like, oh, look at me. It's just like, look, if you can't do it, how can you expect somebody else to?
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Man,
Sounds like
a lot of soul work.
it sounds like a lot of soul work that you have done. This is the benefit of shadow work and self-love. You were willing to look at both sides every
I
day.
was saying I have done things that have been horrible.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So I will never position myself as holier than thou.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just that those I would hope to say that I have learned from the horrible things that I have done, and I didn't necessarily like that person. So I had to meet that person enough to know that I don't like that person.
Yeah.
I couldn't theoretically be like, I don't want to be that person. You know what I'm saying? I have to know that I don't want to be that person. I have to know what that feeling is like. I have to know what that emptiness was like. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I had an experience where I was cut off from Creator. Like, do you know what it feels like when you can't access a thought? It's the loneliest feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That shit was unreal. You feel me? Like, I got dismissed. Like, nah, I ain't fucking with you right now. You got to get your shit together. I got cut off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a very vulnerable, uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
I can't overstress this.
Yeah.
If you've never experienced it, like, I can't even paint that picture.
Yeah.
You know, there was loss of life involved and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you have a, you know, you're only gonna know what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes the way that you get to that place to know those things, you gotta go through
A
a lot
lot.
of darkness.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you recommend.
No.
You can't point nobody down that alley.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody got to go through their own
Process of evolution. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that was something else that stood out was just the marks of a truly spiritual person is a person who releases judgment. It is a person who is able to see.
Judgment?
They release judgment.
Okay.
You know, to me, that is the makeup of a truly spiritual being who's aware that they are a spiritual being.
I did an interview with Dr. Jill Pookrum. I think it was like 2011, right? She's the first person that I had heard speak about the prison of judgment. You feel me? And she was very descriptive of it. And I had to analyze what she was saying. And then because of that, I had came through that saying, I'm going to release myself from judgment, right? Because she made it, you know, kind of clear that you don't have the ability to judge. Discernment is one thing.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
How you personally audit yourself is another. But to judge somebody else, I don't have the right to do that.
Right. And
Right? Because I can't possibly, if I'm on a quest to know thyself, how can I possibly know something about you?
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And it takes every single thing for me to know myself. And I'm not going to fully know it until I check out in hindsight to realize whether I got this thing right or wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm spending, you know, my time, my energy, making a judgment call on you. I don't know your life.
Right.
I don't know what you've been through. Right? I don't know the tangible to go into you making up your mind to decide for you to do the things that you do.
Right. Yep.
Right? So the discernment factor is like, okay, I don't resonate with that person, so I'm going to put some distance between us. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a judgment call. It's like, it's a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
it is.
and so one of the
Yeah,
things.
so there's a prison of judgment because it becomes not to cut you, brother, but let me just say this last piece so
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
like resonate with the fullness of it. The prison of judgment says what? Now you are tacking on unnecessary weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't take that with you where you're going. Right? So now you become weighty. It's a prison of judgment.
That's so true. Yeah.
It actually cuts you off from source.
Right. I was going. Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to add, and even ask, what did you do to counter the self judgment? Because that is probably what you deal. That's what we all deal with more. We'll be more hypercritical of ourselves and judging ourselves and keep our own selves arrested. You know what I'm saying? More so than we pass judgment on other people.
I don't, it's not judgment. I do self audits.
Okay.
You know, I'm able to look at myself. And then I guess there's a benefit because I got a twin, right?
Yeah.
So I have somebody that I'm looking at that looks like me, but that's not me.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I was able to apply the same principle to myself. To be like, I'm looking at me, but that's not me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to self-audit and not necessarily self-judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a big homie spirit that speaks to me.
Yeah.
And be like, nigga, fuck is you on, right? And I gotta straighten up and get my act together.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Right? That's my big homie spirit.
Yeah.
It's not so much a judgment, it's a check.
Yeah.
Okay.
He come in when it's necessary for him to do the cleanup.
That's good. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's good. You said that big homie speak to
Like,
you.
yeah, you get in the mirror and you speak to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look through your eyes and you speak to yourself. You feel me?
Yep.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I think that was another synchronicity between us. I don't have a sibling that is a twin, but I was really gifted to have a twin flame. So many people talk about twin flames now, and a lot of the information out there is not what we perceive to be the truth. But for us, we're twin flames that we were put together to be able to identify and to have a mirror to see each other. So yeah, that's really beautiful that we have both been given twins. Our souls were like mirrors to each other.
Yeah.
And that definitely, yeah, absolutely. That's
So it's
deep.
the same dynamic. Yeah.
And it kind of makes me think about it takes two to create a portal. And so whether this is the two is you in awareness and observation in your higher self in that moment in space and time, you can create a portal so that you can enter into any dimension or timeline that you choose, which is why I cannot say this enough. It's so important that we pay attention to what we are giving our attention to, and to be sure that we are making investments of our awareness and things that will be of benefit for us and not harmful to us, and not just you, but also for the collective, for the whole.
That's right. That's right.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, man, I could do this with you every day. So let's talk about this is good. This is good. Let's talk about Convo with the Cosmos.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Cosmos. That again, it came out of, I would have to say there was two distinctive incidents that kind of led up to that. One was in August of 2017, which was the total lunar eclipse, right? I did a retreat. We went up to Mount Shasta, and we observed it, even against the advice of the indigenous elders that were with us, right? We had the sweat lodge ceremony the night before with some Lakota elders, and they said, look, in our tradition, we don't look at eclipse.
Yeah.
That's an omen. You feel me? And I Googled, I did some research. and they had a good amount of, you know, tribes that were against it, and they had some that was saying that they was with it. So we had to make a decision on our own, and it's like, you know, I'm like, shit, we up here.
We gonna get it in, huh? Yeah.
We came this far.
Yeah.
We've been waiting too long to get free.
Once in a lifetime situation, we on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
And we observed. You know, they went in the crib, they shut the blinds.
Yeah.
We pulled the couch out. You feel me? and we observed it. And single-handedly, it was the most mystical thing that I have physically ever experienced. Like, you know, like that quick, it went from sunlight to not sunlight. And all of the insects went from making noise to being silent. And then we saw the sun and the moon fornicating. Yeah. Right? The sun mounted the moon, or the moon. It was just.
It was phenomenal.
It was next level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it lasted for however long it lasted. And when they unmounted, right, the insects started having sex.
Wow.
And it was the brightest I have ever seen the sun. It was like the sun was renewed and reborn. Right? And and then this comes from me tracking the tetrad blood moon from 2014. Right? This was really started my observation of how ceremonial ritualistic magic got put into play. Yeah. You feel me? It started with Trayvon, but all of the murders that we're talking about with our people happened under the blood moons, the 4 tetrad blood moons. Yeah. Even one of them, Walter Scott in South Carolina, happened on April 4th on the 3rd blood moon on a Saturday. Right? That's how succinct that they was. Yeah. The second blood moon, the first blood moon was Mimi Force. When they put the porno out, she was 44 years old. They put right, so everybody was affixed on her box, right? On her vagina, blood moon, 44, right? So at the time when this mystical ceremony is taking place, people is online trying to tell Jews that they the original Jews. Right? Yeah. And they're like, nigga, we observe celestial cycles. Yeah. And we get ready. You feel me? We've been waiting on this. What are y'all doing? Y'all is affixed on Nini's box. And then right after that came the what was the dude that was the LA Clippers, the owner of the LA Clippers, who was talking greasy about
black people
to his jump-offs, right? All of that happened around the same time. And he was utilizing Jay-Z as a muse because Jay-Z was wearing the 5% chain that happened on April 6th at a New Jersey Jets game. Right? So, again, these people are juxtaposing to say, you know, I'm not only going to steal your birthright. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to emasculate your men in public. Yeah. The richest, most powerful amongst them. Yeah. Since you say cash rules, right? He who has the most cash does what? Then you are subordinate to that. Where does your power derive from? It can't be in a dollar amount, because you can't play that game with people who print money. No. Right. It comes with you protecting your women, right? Your moons. Going back to these 13 moon concepts. Yeah. All of this coming out of 2012, and they like, you still don't get it. You're still following our calendar, but you the man, right? Yeah. How could you possibly be? You don't understand your woman. Yeah. Wow. Right? Wow. So, it went from Mimi Force. Then the second blood moon was on October 8th, I believe. And that was when the first melanated person in this country had got Ebola. I think he was in Dallas. It was a brother. Yeah. That's when Ebola first, because they was going crazy. The Ebola craze at that time was what COVID was last year. It's like, yo, is it gonna come here? Da-da-da. And then, remember, it was the nurse from Spain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was 44 years old.
Yeah.
But she came over here and they had an antidote for her, so she got cured.
Sure did.
The brother had came from, I think, the continent, and he went to Dallas and he died.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cure for him.
Right. Yeah, I remember
You feel
that.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Then the third blood moon was when they killed Walter Scott, and then the fourth blood moon was on Passover. So they were making these observations, right? They had Paul Hogan, who was an evangelicist, and he teamed up with the Zionists because they said during all of these blood moons, these are when monumental things happen for the state of Israel. Right? So they're making their observations. They're setting all of their plays up. And during that entire period, that's when all of the murders happened.
Sure did.
For melanated men in this country under the presidency of the 44th president. Right? Barack Hussein Obama, who refused to activate his, because you know, Hussein means sword.
Didn't know that.
It's beautiful that you say that because when this particular eclipse happened, I was just reading over some of the things that was coming through at the time. We were Hebrew Israelites. And we were very devout in that practice. It's really interesting. I still can't even believe we here because we went through so many different, spaces to figure out.
Again, Hebrew are star letters.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Exactly.
Hebrew are star letters. So, and it's not I can't possibly make any denunciation of anybody's ideological beliefs because I don't know all the way what it entails, but I have yet to find, brothers and sisters from that particular demonstration who make celestial observations.
Exactly.
And align their ritualistic practices with the stars.
Yeah.
Right.
You feel me? And that's where their whole thing comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their adversary is never going to miss those observations. They're never going to miss those ceremonial situations.
That's right. That's right.
So if I was to look at them and be like, oh, what's the difference? I'd be like, oh, they got look how they playing out of your playbook as opposed to what it is that you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I haven't found any that deal with Kabbalah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No.
Actually, you need too many to speak Hebrew.
Look,
that's the stuff you
we
taught to stay away from.
Exactly. We contacted and consulted a lot of elders who are highly respected. So it's funny that you're saying that because this was the question we was presented to them. Like, can you tell us about astrotheology? Can you tell us about the cosmos and the connection with scripture? And like nobody could answer this. So we ended up in debates with people, and we were winning debates with people who were considered elders within that. And I was just like, it's something wrong here. They can't answer questions. We're getting into debates. And it was crazy. So when I started looking it up with this particular blood moon triad that you're talking about, what it led me to was tetrad. Yeah, there you go. 777 kept coming up, and I didn't know the significance of it. So I went back to check out some of the astrotheology and the alignment of that. And so if you go back to, you were talking about the sword. So the total solar eclipse that we had, it actually crisscrossed America. And the way that it crisscrossed, it created an X. And so it
created one line.
Yeah. And so we're waiting on April 8th.
Coming in 2024.
Exactly. And it's going to create an X. And so that led us to the sword reference, which was mentioned in Jasher 88:47. And it says the children of Israel returned to the city after having burned it, and they smote all those that were in it with the edge of the sword. Sword also represents 7 in Hebrew, which equates back to what they would use as ahaya, which is the sword, the one of weapons used in spiritual armor and warfare. So I knew war was imminent at that point. I was like, it's finna get real.
So they denuded the president by him not being able to enact his spiritual armor, right? He couldn't even pronounce, you never heard him say his middle name in public, ever.
That's true.
He never pulled his sword out, right? He never got into his Hussein bag.
Yep.
You feel me?
Yep. And
So,
that's
you know,
interesting because
and he's a motif. He was the king of kings. He is a Leo.
Yeah.
Who happens to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
You feel me?
A lot of 44.
And he's the 44th. And
Yep.
then, you know, in Israel, they have this whole big thing about the number 44. It's a very mystical number to them.
Yeah.
Right? The 44 kings of Israel. 44 means blood in their tradition. It means a lot of other things. It means man, women, and child.
Yes.
But they're looking at him like, whoa, that's what they was calling him, the Antichrist. That's why they went the way that they did, because they like, yo, we can't allow what we know, what we're looking at. We can't allow them to know what we're looking at. You feel me? But you know, those things took place, and then like I said, in 2019, you know, the situation happens with Nipsey on March 31st. And he makes the transition at the age of 33. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, this is a sign, a harbinger of things to come. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is a harbinger of things to come. And December 21st, 2019, I'm coming back from New York, headed to Atlanta, and the sun is just like beating on my face 8:30 in the morning. It was hot, like as if it was like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm waking up and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I clearly, in my head though, you know, I'm hearing the sun communicate. Right? And it was like, I need you to tell my story. Feel me? I'm coming in hot. Right? So in so many words, it was like, there's, you know, around this time, people wait to Christmas, especially the conscious community. They always want to tell somebody what they're not doing right.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they do all that time, but nobody ever really, there's no day out of the calendar year that people really speak about the sun and pay homage to it. It's like, yo, it's the 21st, it's the solstice, it's my death day. Can I just get some good rest? Like, can y'all talk about who I am and what I do without having to put all that other stuff in it? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all don't put no time aside. You so concerned with what Christians is doing on Christmas, but no one is really putting that same focus and attention to edifying the sun or reminding people that it has this life-giving, you know, principle. And our ancestors were not sun worshipers, you know what I'm saying? But they spoke about the need and the necessity of this particular star. And then they spoke about the sun behind the sun. You feel me? The Mars sun. And again, then you get these latecomers to come and jack these principles and put together these fraternal organizations. And we get so focused on that. But never the truth, never the underlying, you know what I'm saying? Aspect of what it's hitting to is the science. So we're talking about Sirius. We're talking about the Big Mama. Right? We don't get into that. We don't get into these particular disciplines. We don't get into these sciences. We just get into finger pointing and complaining. So around that time, I had, you know, came up with a hashtag, and it was called Corona Rising, right? Because the sun was like, I'm about to come alive, and I'm gonna come alive within the people, right? We're going back to a golden year or a golden age. So I'm like, 2020's coming, you know, we're dealing with the soaring 20s, not the roaring 20s. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, the sun is about to come alive and awaken us. And that's where my whole concept for Corona Rising came. And because I was tracking the number 44, I got Google alerts. In late December, I kept seeing all of these stories coming out of China dealing with Corona. It was a coronavirus at the time. Right? It was an epidemic. But it was typecast to the number 44. Now, anytime I see the number 44 correlated to a disease, I know that it's dealing with the blood. And I know that the number 4 in China is an omen because the character is similar to the same character that they use for death. So I was like, oh, this must be traumatic for them. You know, these 44s that keep popping up in these incidents, that they're seeing what I'm seeing. And, you know, before long, it was kind of like full blown. But the month of December of 2019 was very key because that was the year of the return, right? Our people went back to Ghana in the end of December.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the golden people or the golden race go back to the golden coast from whence they came. Okay. And then we're going through the whole, once again, the biblical aspect of whether true or theorized that 400-year cycle the Genesis 15:13 talks about, right? Of being in captivity.
Yeah.
And that took place in August of 2019. They call it Project 16. You feel me? So now here we go. After you free slaves, you experience what's called a Jubilee year.
Yeah.
And then after the Jubilee year of you paying debts and getting all of your things situated, then you experience what's called a coronation. So the coronation happens in August 21st of 2020.
Yeah.
The year between that is a Jubilee period, right? So I'm like, look at our people going back to Ghana to party. Ghana made $1.9 billion, right? In a small period of time in the month of December, not the whole month. Not the whole month. Just a period of time that our people had went back during the end of December to celebrate and party for what was supposed to have been, right? The bridge building experience. We'd have been, I mean, the continent would have looked different today.
Yeah.
Had it not been for coronavirus.
Yeah.
Right? We were making that connection. Right? And in the emphasis on the word gold. You know what I mean? And that gold having a direct correlation to that sun. So, you know, coronavirus comes in and what have you, and it throws things off. And, you know, our people go through what they go through. Now, George Floyd happens on May 25th. You know what I'm saying? And you guys did an amazing job speaking about how that had its astrological correspondences as well. But what kind of like signaled to me that this was part of this whole mythology, right, of Corona rising, of the sun having this direct connection and correlation to us, is May 29th, when the riot started. That's the first time that a solar flare erupted on the sun since October of 2017.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm like, what is our connection to that solar deity? Right, to that particular entity? How are we connected to it? We love talking about it, how we from the sun, we sun people.
Right.
But can you prove it scientifically? So some of the most profound scientific breakthroughs happened in 2020.
Yeah.
While people got thrusted back into the 60s. Right? And was doing whatever they was doing, but nobody was taking note of all of the science. And all of these breakthroughs. How were they able to make these observations? I thought the world was locked down, but they kept cracking them. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. We're now in quantum, and quantum physics is taking quantum leaps in a leap year.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yep.
So we just gauged what it is that we was making observations of, and just brought all of the receipts to show, look, this has everything to do with you. Right? From Beetlejuice to all of that and everything else. Right? This has a direct connection and a correlation to you. And the whole motif last year was kings. It was kings.
Yeah.
King disease.
Yeah.
You know, again, you know, the Kobe situation. You feel me? You had Black is King, and, you know, Chadwick made transition, right? The king who died thrice. Okay? Because he'd already died 2 times as Black Panther. And just and then he died when the solar flare hit on August 28th. What we call the coronation. So you get this cosmic king who plays a motif of a king in real life on a Hollywood screen, but carried himself like a king in real life as well. 4 times. Oh, then he died. Yeah, he died in the movie The Five Bloods.
Yeah.
Right. So the king who died 4 times. I think even in the Ma Rainey movie, he die in that one too. The Netflix movie.
He died.
Then he was
a lot
just.
of them.
Look, they stay killing homie, right?
He died in what was
Yeah.
the sitcom show we was watching?
That's
too?
right. He died in
Fringe. In Fringe, he died in Fringe.
Died in that.
Yeah.
The whole MLK documentary comes. I mean, everything dealing with the king motif comes up. The return of the king.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, look, we are a celestial, right, elevated people who really need to understand our power and our participation in this real life mythos that's taking place right now.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm like, let's replace all of these old motifs, you know what I'm saying, with modern day ones so we can really extract the power that we need to do what it is that we have to do right now. Instead of just dealing with everything like it's entertainment.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake.
Yes.
You feel me? And I'm like, why you think they up in your blood, reorganizing your DNA?
Yeah.
But then they're coming up with all of these researches and reports about what they're discovering about you on a genetic level.
I was it's funny you say that because we were watching something. But anyway, you know, I was watching it and they were what was coming through for me, it kept every time they would show the black woman, she was the lead geneticist.
Absolutely.
Can't think of the name of it, but she was the lead geneticist, and I've seen this theme 3 or 4 times. Then you have Star Trek, and the black woman was cast the lead role in Star Trek.
You're talking about the new Star Trek.
The new Star Trek. So they kept positioning the black woman in these positions, but there was rarely a black man beside her.
Yeah.
And so
Actually, it was obvious I was a white man.
right, it was always a white man. So you know, just tapping into that led me to doing research on mitochondrial DNA, which led me back to Chadwick Boseman because he correlated with the periodic table with a specific element that is only found in Mother Earth. So his connection with Mother Earth was so deep. And so I had a whole convo with him, you know, and he was very specific, very scientific soul. And he was just leading me through. He was telling me what to read. Okay, then go read this. And I was just piecing it together.
More stuff on the other side.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's a cosmic king.
Yes. Yes.
He represents the coronation.
Yes.
You feel me? So I'm like, you know, again, scriptures say that those who have eyes shall see and those who have ears shall hear. So Convos with the Cosmos is just us, you know what I'm saying, putting these receipts in a book so you can see yourself.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, the people are able to gravitate and you know what I'm saying, see it for what it is. But it's right there. And you know, and we're in it. It's a book that's writing itself.
Yes.
It's nonstop. It's a never-ending story. Because we are in the thick. We're in the midst of it.
Okay.
And the DMX situation, that was it for me.
Man, don't even get me started.
That was it. Like,
Yeah.
If I ever needed a confirmation of, you know, synchronistic alignments, it was with the dog.
Yep.
You feel me?
Receipt after receipt, huh?
2020, you know, it's the king motif, it's the sun, but it's really serious.
Yeah.
You know, it's really the constellation. And like you were saying, or Eileen was saying in the video dealing with Beetlejuice, you know, Beetlejuice represents the doorway or the gateway, right? To that other side. It's called the Golden Gate and the Silver Gate, right? The Silver Gate is what you come through.
Yeah.
And the Silver Gate is where you can find the Silver Gate between Taurus and Gemini. So right now is the Silver Gate. This period in time, these constellations, these formations in the sky, that's why, you know, all of that energy took place with George Floyd during that particular period. Yeah. And the Golden Gate is between Scorpio and Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's just like I said, it's a lot of interesting factors that are taking place as above, so below, cosmically and on this particular plane. you know, and we are the fulcrum point between it all. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta say something, baby.
Absolutely.
You know, we the shit. We making it happen. We here.
Yeah.
Like, people really need to give themselves credit for being
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just in case if it cuts off, we're going to restart it. We got
Yeah.
about 20 more minutes we can go, but the stream is going to cut off. So y'all just hold up. I don't know why it's timing out like this, but we're going to get back on.
Yeah.
So just hold up for those of you all who are on YouTube. We're going to get IG back
Coming
on
right
and
back in,
restart
Blue.
it. So come back in, Uncle Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, bear with us, y'all. We're going to restart this.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. We don't really use IG a lot, so this is definitely a learning experience for us. So y'all enjoying the show so far? Let me see what's going on. We got 58 people in here. Ashe and 60 likes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to the moderators. Thank you so much for helping us to manage the comments while we're doing this build. I see y'all having a lot of convos with each other, convos with the cosmos, because we're all stars.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to get him back in here.
Yeah.
So while you are awaiting, I'll just give a review. What was you going to say?
No.
Okay. So again, if you want to get a copy of the functionary, send us a message, remnantsgathering.com. Hey, I would like a copy of the functionary. It usually we're able to link you up with Dr. Blind himself to get a copy directly from him. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch that again. Okay, so we got about 20 more minutes. We want to just give the show over to you for the next 20 minutes of this. I know you was speaking and saying something. Were you completing a thought before it ended?
Yeah, I mean, again, I had an opportunity to tap in, you know, with a brother who was making some amazing observations as well, you know, along the lines with, you know, what I've been hitting on. So it's a collaborative project, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they say that 4 eyes are better than 1 or 2 for that matter.
Yeah.
Right? More like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's 44 eyes. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And not only, you know, is the information, you know, next level, but the actual packaging and presentation of it is going to be unlike anything that's ever done. You know,
Awesome.
so it's very
Great work.
revolutionary within itself.
Yeah, great work. Great work
And,
for you.
and it's going to be a living testament. It's a living book. It's continuous, so it can always be updated and added on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a foray into a new form of publishing that we will be offering, you know, to other publishers afterwards. You feel me?
Yeah.
This is the way that I've always wanted to experience books. You know,
Wow.
and it's again, you know, post conjunction as well. We could talk about the conjunction because that had a lot of everything to do with it.
Yeah.
Now, you can go and look at the conjunction in 1 or 2 ways. Let's speak on this. It's either love or war, depending on, you know, what your observational lens is, right? So in the modern day context of the society that we live in, which is Greco-Roman, right? Jupiter and Saturn represent Kronos and his son Zeus, right? Of which there has been all of these legendary battles. They call it the Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I also observed that alignment. It looked just like the eclipse. I saw one planet mount the other. And I was like, hold on, that shit looked very sexual for that to be, you know, Kronos and Zeus. And lo and behold, I go and do my research, and they say, no, in antiquity, before the Romans or the Greeks got it, they said that Saturn was all set, right? And Jupiter is a Saul. Right? So I'm like, okay, it's either a love story or it's a war story, depending on your observation, right? Your perspective, and how far back you're willing to go to make sense of what it is that you're looking at. Right? So it's not father time, it's mother time. Why? Because she got the cycle. He don't have a cycle.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
right.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Time is a construct of measurement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she's the one that represents that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
then if you understand that to be what it is, then you can go and start decoding the rest of this stuff and the rest of these mythos. Right? Because she's also tied in to Sirius.
Yes.
Sirius is all set, it's Saltis. It's the female dog.
Yeah.
The queen mother is a bitch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
If you can wrap your head around that, you get out of your feelings.
Yeah.
Once again, you can start unlocking the codes.
Yeah.
So after the conjunction, you know, there was an explosion in technology, right? Or with our people in particular getting into technology.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
It started with Clubhouse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it led into this crypto revolution,
Yeah.
right? But we got to ask ourselves, well, what is governing this? You know, what is moving this? What is moving this particular current? Right now, this week in particular, let's say, what's the two motifs that are continuous in this crypto realm? The dog
And the
moon,
Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked on my page earlier, I said, well, what deity coincides with the dog and the moon? And I haven't, you know, nobody really got it. They kept saying Ampu, and I'm like, that's cool, but that's not. I said, this is Mother's Day, okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who controls the currents? Like, what entity is tied into these two particular motifs? And it's all set,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
She's serious,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
dog,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she also is a moon deity. Now, in certain disciplines, Asar is a moon deity as well.
Right.
And in certain disciplines, Osset is a solar deity.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you know, these things are consistent. You know what I mean? If we look at the metaphysics of these markets, to be like, it's not that, you know, you don't have to really stretch the imagination that much.
To see what's
mythos
going
is
on.
real. It's right here. You can see it.
Yeah.
But nobody's really interpreting it, put it in a perspective like that. So, you know.
Because we've been far removed from it.
Yeah. And, you know, again, I'm like, if we could see it for what it is and take the confusion out of it, then I feel that we can get ahead. We can get forward. Right? It'll give us some level of advantage because you already studying, you already in the community, you already know the information. Now apply it.
Right.
Nothing should be outside of the scope of what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Or that means that you're not part of the narrative.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Who wants to be left outside of the narrative?
Nobody.
You know, a lot of people pride themselves with being on point, right? Oh, we part of this and we part of that.
That's
we
right.
created this and we created that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you show your footing and your position in this modern day paradigm? Or are you playing catch up?
That's what it is most of the
Look at them
time.
coins, right? Shit, all the white boys is naming all of their coins, everything metaphysical. Everything.
Wow.
But take a look at our coins that melanated people have created. And be like, what's the name of them? You know, what have we been naming our coins? Have we tied our things into anything cosmic? Anything metaphysical?
Probably not.
No.
We've been put to sleep.
Yep.
Something I want to share. I feel like with this space, just take a moment and share this. But probably a few days ago, maybe a week ago, I sometimes I wake up. The ancestors wake me up and my ears are ringing, and so I know, like, okay, they need my attention. And what they were expressing to me was the importance of subconscious reprogramming for the sake of the energetic legacy that we are leaving. And so I was watching something, and I said, it just came through so clear to me. It was something about they had over 7,000 penises from black men being shipped from Africa to China. And I was just like, yo, what's going on there? That's a message there. So when I remote viewed into a laboratory in China, what happened in the vision that I received was that there's a peculiar DNA signature, a sequence that is only found in certain groups of people. And they begin creating, there's a project, I don't know the name of it, but this is what's been communicated to me, and I've been waiting for today to share this. But there's a project where they are doing this research on antimatter, dark matter, and a specific DNA sequence that only certain people carry, and we all here know who that is. So what they're trying to do is weaponize this DNA sequence to create these new biological weapons. And so,
in human form.
right. So as we're moving forward with the vaccinations and everything, and this was solidified this and confirmed this to me, they put computers in every home in Compton. First of all, they waited to do this on a Wednesday at a specific time where a particular planetary egregor was ruling over that time and space. They put all of these computers in any household that had a child that was of school age receive a computer. And so in the same time frame, they were vaccinating them as well. And so, I asked the ancestors what is significant about this. And they expressed to me they're weaponizing and hijacking this DNA sequence and they want access. So they're using the children. You are no good to them. They need the children. And so the souls that, because of the work that you all are doing on a collective level, it has opened portals to certain dimensions that have not been opened in ages, which is the recreation of the golden age. So they're having to come in and remix the DNA sequence to stop this. It's like a climax. It was like a pyramid, the way that I was seeing and what is happening within us. Even for the people who are below the veil of consciousness, this is happening because it is prophetic. Our ancestors were so knowledgeable and they were so outside of time and space, the way they constructed the pyramids on every continent, the way everything is set up. This is a narrative. So the goal is to tap into this bigger narrative outside of the 3D simulation and to begin recreating your life and taking over that narrative. However, with the specific DNA sequence that they have found, they are weaponizing it. And it will be a form of a weapon. And so a lot of the countries, that's what they're warring about right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, in 2020, in February of 2020, they reported that they found the ghost DNA, right? In a particular sublet of West Africans, okay?
Yeah.
And then in March of 2020, right, they had a brother from Cameroon who was in China who got the bug. And they said, Africans with a particular genetic stock cannot get COVID because they have superior genes.
Yeah.
Right? And this the community ran with that for a minute. They're like, oh, see, we don't. I'm like, nigga, that's not you. You are compromised DNA. That's the original strand.
Yeah.
That's not who you are.
Yeah.
You got rat, cat, dog, hog.
Yeah.
Some more shit mixed in your DNA. That's not who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're making a specific haplogroup group over there, and they'd be like, yo, that is the original man. We found the strain. And that strain cannot contract COVID or any of those things. But it's a specific group.
Yep.
And then the West African group, because like as fate would have it, right? A brother driving Uber came and picked me up one day, and he was part of that group. I think he said that his people was from Uganda, right? And he had called his people on the phone and everything. He was super hyped that I knew the information. And he said that those were the original Yoruba. These are the people, the ghost DNA. These were the people, he said, these were the tribes that the actual, deities come from, that people have, proselytized in the Yoruba traditions. He was like, no, Shango was real, and all of that. So these are those particular Africans that have that ghost DNA.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I would imagine. And he said that that the European was coming in there, and they were buying out the land. You know, they was throwing money around. It's like these people was falling for the roots.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so they up in there. You know, I don't necessarily know if that's where that other thing is coming from. But interestingly, you know, an article came out and put it up yet, but they were saying that the world population is in a decline. And they said that the only continent that is going to sustain population growth is Africa.
Yeah.
And they said 5 of the countries in Africa will have the highest populations by 2100.
Wow.
Right? Everybody else has declined. You feel me? Already. So I'm like, shit, do they even need eugenics is already in place, already in motion through, you know, chemical warfare.
Right.
And socio-economical warfare and all other types of warfare. Right? That's already, you know, something that's already been put in motion. But they definitely, you know, all the future is in Africa.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, you know, when that came through, I mean, some of the stuff I you know, have to look, and I can't just spout out, you know, and so I was like, I want to share this and just see what, you know, because I don't always know what's coming through and why. A lot of the research that you saw that we did, as I expressed in the lecture we did with Dr. Bay on Betelgeuse, that was just the process of dreams and the ancestors just leading me to this information.
It was on point. Again, like I said, you know, for researchers, people like us that can go and get receipts. You know what I mean? We like, I know what I'm listening to. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done the research. I came across this information. Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. Here goes your.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your confirmation, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes.
That's beautiful. That was
profound.
Yeah. Very, very strong activation that we were receiving. Okay. I
This has
mean,
been good. So tell us what you got next coming up.
We have a target date for May 21st for the book. That's Biggie's birthday.
Okay.
You know, we'll explain how he ties into the mythos and the narrative. You know, because he's a key component, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, we love minimizing our people because they're rappers or trappers or what have you.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got an aspect of divinity, of God in them.
That's right. That's right.
But again, we are going through the dark rift in this universe. So these niggas is demiurgic, right? They're not going to show up all sanctified like you expect them to be.
Right.
They're going to show up big, black, and ugly. They're going to show up like chaos. Right? This is the upside down world. Right? So May 21st is our target, you know,
release date
to be releasing this project. Please stay tuned for that. And there will be many more announcements to come after that. I have a lot of different dates. You know, we'll be running around the country, doing different events, bringing information to the people dealing with crypto. If you are in Dallas or Houston or Miami, on the 12th, the 13th, and the 15th of this month, we'll be in your city. Okay, for Juneteenth, we'll be in Kentucky, in Louisville, on the Friday and the Saturday of that weekend. And then back in Atlanta on the Sunday, I have an event called Altar Candy that we do on the third week, or the third Sunday of every month. So we got one coming up here this month, I believe this the 23rd.
Okay.
And then the next one is the 22nd.
Okay.
You know, you have to correct me if I'm wrong with dates, but for the most part, you know, those are the immediate events that I know that are coming up. That are right in front of us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll be keeping the people posted about other events and other activities, but there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah.
And we're doing our best to make sure that we are available, to document, participate, and do everything necessary,
Mm-hmm.
feel me, to put these things in perspective.
Awesome. Yeah. We see, and before we let you go, we see the event also that you got coming up. I think that's the end of this month. In regards.
Oh.
Yeah.
In Atlanta,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, there's a fungus festival.
Yeah.
Just coming up.
That's a
the
big
end
deal.
of,
Very big
in
deal.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big deal. Shrooms definitely been talking to us.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the family here, they could tap in, to all of those events. And again, for financial education and literacy, because that should be the number one conversation
Yes.
this year amongst our community, right? We have to onboard as many people as we can, not to jump in and get directly into these markets. There's going to be nothing more important than education. You feel me? Education.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like when they use that adage about how people perish from a lack of knowledge, this is what they was talking about.
Yeah.
So they can sign up to the biggestcryptoplayever.com, and they also should sign up to BWO, which is the Black World Order, where they can get a consortium of access to information, right? Dealing with legacy plays, right? Wealth generation and wealth building.
Okay.
And I can't overstress enough how important it is for our people to prioritize, right? Preparing themselves. You feel me? And then on the health side, of course, prioritizing their health, because according to what the news is saying, we're still in the midst of, whatever it is that they're saying that we're in the midst of. Right? But we should not necessarily use that as a needed signal for us to get our acts together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? We know how uncomfortable it was sitting there on the TV, allowing them to tell us about our people having all of these pre-existing conditions. And I put an article out the other day, and they said 44% of millennials, right, already have pre-existing conditions. So what does that mean? That means allow Generation X to have a fighting chance, because I don't know what the statistics are on them, but, chances are, like, if they're children of millennials, they're probably getting the same thing that their parents are eating. But they also were able to observe and look at last year, and a lot of them might want to make different life decisions and not necessarily follow the way that their parents were going down that road.
Right.
So we have to be the living example. You know what I'm saying? Our company in particular, we make sure that we do any and everything that's necessary to get the people what's needed in real time, right? To speak specifically to what it is that we need. So goldwater.com, I'll write that in the chat.
Okay.
We invite you all over there. All right, we have an amazing product called Goldie Bears. Gummies, right? This is the easiest way to onboard your children
to the gold
to an enjoyable health experience is with a product like that. Because not only is it relatable, these things taste amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
These things taste amazing. You can't just eat one.
Yeah.
Your child can't be too healthy. So, right? Somebody said they got two of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, them is the joints. Like, people, it speaks for itself. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's an exciting time to say the narrative is up for grabs. People are going to get tired of seeing it's becoming too obvious. Right? I'm asking them, can you count on your hands how many times you've seen your president? We in May. There would not have been one day that went by where you wouldn't have seen a tweet.
Yeah, you sure right there? Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I'm upset to say that I miss Trump.
Good to know it's not just me.
It's presidential presidencies like this.
Yeah. That is so true.
I miss him too.
I'm just not, it's just so lame. It's like, who's driving this ship?
Right.
Who's in control? Who's in charge? So the
Seem
people
like the
are
age
going
is
to
sliding
see
on
through this,
me.
man. This
Yeah.
is a terrible production.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Nut Job 2.
Yeah, we did.
Watch
And
Nut
here's
Job
the
2.
thing. You have to be prepared
You do.
to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where, you know, standing on your square with this information and being in the forefront,
Yeah.
really having something that, you know, people can benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful time to deliver. It's a wonderful time to be of service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to say thank you. Continue doing the good work. Continue, you know, bringing that information through.
Yeah.
You know, and sharing it in a unique and genuine manner. Like I said, we need to see more of this. You know what I'm saying? The masculine
Mm-hmm.
and the feminine, divine, unifying, right? Putting ego aside and just dealing with the information.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. You welcome. Yeah. And we got something for you too. We got something for you. Yeah.
So we
went
to the mines so we could find something for
Yeah.
Uncle Blue.
Yeah.
For that crystal currency. And we have these too.
When we read that, that'll be a follow-up conversation. I'm still, you know, building out, developing some things. I've been getting an amazing response, you know, from the brief conversation that we have had in the public about that. So that's going to be the next one. And that's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
Because that is technically the bridge, you know what I mean, that will get us back to the continent and make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People just want to get back on the kumbaya and talk about racial solidarity, and they want to go to the continent. And it's like, you know, the Africans is merchants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want to do business.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And you should want to go over there to do business as well, because everybody else is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you are the custodians of this planet, you should have some sort of say, you know, in the things that come from the planet.
Yeah.
You should have your hand in that. You know what I'm saying? And not only for financial means and reasons, like you should know the metaphysical science and properties of these stones.
Yeah.
Yes.
And these metals.
Yes.
Right? And the fact that they are the underlying undercurrent of technology, point blank, period. Nothing can move without them. Right? The African does not have the history of dealing with the European like you do. He can't talk to him the same way. He don't have the gall or the gumption. Right? So they kind of need you as their mouthpiece to get a better deal. Right? And to shake some things up. So it's an opportunity of a lifetime that is present, and we have to seize it.
Yeah. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well spoken.
Yes,
So
sir.
y'all be on the lookout for Convo with the Cosmos. Just stay tuned in. For those, if our faces are new to you, you can check us out at REMNANTSGATHERING.com. We produce a lot of content. And yeah, you can add in something.
No,
Okay.
I'm pointing to y'all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we have blogs, like we really dig in. This is not a stage play right here. What's going on here? This is really serious work that we have been given to do. It might look easy with us sitting here, but we work together, we live together, we love together, we build together. It's everything. And our people need to see this. And so I just want to remind you all that begin to detox yourself from the inferior thoughts and patterns. Know thyself, know who you are, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need help. We are a soul tribe, and we don't have to know each other personally. There's something very spiritual that is occurring with us to support each other in our becoming and evolution. And I know that our people have been very divided up to this point, but we cannot hold on to that narrative. It is time to start speaking a new narrative, moving in that. It is time to support each other, no ego, moving in that. And one thing I can say, the Caucasian people, I look at them and they got a code. They stick together and they're able to overcome things because of that. So just know that as we're returning to this golden age, you don't have to hold on to the narrative that I can't do anything with my people.
Right.
Because there are people who are already waiting for you to team up with them. And so this right here was written in the stars to happen, and you are no different. So I just wanted to say that I feel like it's important for us to empower people, because I know how difficult it can be coming out of inferiority complexes. And I think a lot of us have experienced that. And so, yeah, absolutely. I keep talking forever, but I'm not today. So check us out on YouTube as well. It's under my name, Kamsin, Khamsin. That is Remnants Gathering. I have different businesses and different things that I do, but you can always keep up with what we're doing with our website as well. Thank you, Uncle Blue. Uncle Blue.
Yes. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We
Gotta do it again.
Yes.
Gotta do it again.
Indeed. All right. I
All right.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Yes.
Peace, love, and light, family.
All right.
Peace, love, and life. Peace to everybody. Yes.
Indeed, y'all. Peace.